Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Peeling Onions. This is it's going to be a shorthand episode because of kind of the spontaneousness of it. Just a quick examples. I'm obviously not in the studio. If you can hear background noise, I'm sorry, I can't really help with that. But I guess we should go straight into the topic. Obviously, what's been circling around is the new Alabama, Georgia, I believe, are the two states abortion laws. These are basically the strictest abortion laws we've seen up to this point, and at this point, I have a hard time siding with the pro-life side, at least as far as that law goes. And but there's still a lot of things I don't agree with what the pro-life side's still saying. I mean, pro-choice side's still saying. Excuse me. And it's a situation where at this point I've talked with people about it, and essentially at this point I'm going to step away from saying which side I can really be for as far as this law goes, because neither one of them I like. So at this point, I'm going to give my opinions on it. I'm going to say what I think the Democrats are saying that's wrong. I'm going to say what I think about the bill is wrong. And then I'm just going to basically tell you what I think should be the implemented law, and what the exception should be into abortion, because as you know, I am more on the pro-life side. But in this law, essentially, health of the mother is about the only reason that abortion is out, unless I'm misunderstanding the law. If I am, please be sure to tell me down in the comments if that is true. But as far as I can tell, rape and incest are not included, and there's no certain, I guess, length of time that you would have to wait. So, like, per se, after 20 weeks, it would be illegal. There's no law like that. It's not implemented like that. There's in the trimester you have to, where that cuts it off. Like, you have to get it within the first trimester. And so there's a lot of areas where I disagree with this. So I'm gonna first, right off the bat, say what I disagree with about the law. I hate the fact that rape and incest are not put on the law. My personal belief and what I personally would want somebody to do does not affect what I would try to implement as law. I personally would like to see that baby get born either way, because I believe that two wrongs don't make a right. Killing the baby doesn't solve the fact that you were raped. Now, with that, there's a lot of gray area. I would never tell somebody who got raped, actually raped, not withdrew consent after the fact, after they had sex, didn't have sex and then just regretted it. Actual rape is a scenario where abortion, as much as I hate it, I would accept it. It's just a terrible thing, but at that point in law, I think we have to go with that. We have to concede that, especially because it's really the only common ground any people have. And if you're not even willing to accept that common ground, I don't think you're ever going to get an abortion law passed. Moving on from that, you have, there's no limits per se. There's no trimester you have to decide by. This one's a little bit more difficult to implement. I believe if you're having consensual sex and you conceive, you should not be allowed to use abortion as your birth control. It was consensual sex. You knew the risk, whether you were wearing a condom or not. You knew the risk. You took it. You had a kid. I think, personally, you should have to take care of that kid. I understand that's very unlikable. So the I guess middle ground I would say is fair is 12 weeks. You have 3 months to decide, the first trimester, to decide whether you want that baby or not. So if we're going to decide a middle ground there, I think it should personally be 12 weeks, your first trimester. That should be where the middle ground is. I think that's fair. I do not think a 32-week baby should be aborted. moving on to, I guess, just the lies spread about it, because it's and this is the point where, with this law specifically, I really wanted to be able to side with pro-choicers, because there is, to an extent, a middle ground that Alabama and Georgia overstepped. But every time I tried to think, okay, you know what? I'll give you guys this one. It was a crappy law. They say something stupid. The problem with arguing for the abortions is that they always go to the extreme. And it's the dumbest thing you can do. It is absolutely the most idiotic thing you can do. They go instantly to rape, which, as we've mentioned on this channel multiple times, is only about 1% of rapes. I believe it's actually less percent. I believe it's like 0.8%. Then they go to... I actually saw this one recently, as somebody posted this comment on, I believe it was Facebook. I'm not 100% sure. It may have been Twitter. But they posted the comment of, if there was a burning building, 1,000 embryos, viable embryos, and there was one child, which do you save? And then they said, of course, you save the child, yada, 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 because that's your instinct, because the embryos have no moral value. Therefore, you would save the child. It's a lie. That's what that is. That entire thing is a joke to set it up. And, again, you have to go to the extreme just to prove your point. Let's take some of the farthest right people. Ben Shapiro, for example. I believe he's actually touched on this exact scenario. Just because it's your moral instinct to save the face you can see does not mean that's the correct moral choice. Instinct does not equal correctness. Okay? And the reason that going to this extreme does not help your point is because what happens if your point doesn't get proven? And this is where I think it's, I guess, dangerous. Because when we go to the extreme, and we say, what about, we use rape to, for example, to promote all abortion. That is just a gateway, when we open that up and allow that crap to come through. It's a gate that just floods in and ends up with a bill being proposed for post-birth abortion. And I think we're getting to a point in America that we are so broadened by this one topic that really is not that difficult to grasp, and that there is a very easy common middle ground for, that I'm not sure if we're ever going to reach an impasse. I don't think we're ever going to get to an intersection where we can all agree on what to do with this. Because I don't think that the right is going to be willing to budge, especially if they're going to continue along this path. And the left has shown over and over that if you give them an inch, they'll take up a mile. And that's forcing the right to shut down and say, no, fine. You want to play that game? This is the one scenario you get. So, a real quick recap, and then you guys can go about your days. I believe abortion should be in 3 instances: rape, incest, health of mother. 4 instances. Rape, incest, health of mother, and though I hate it, I would allow up to the first trimester, 12 weeks. You would have 12 weeks to decide whether to keep the baby or not. These are the exceptions. Every other abortion would be considered illegal. That is where I think the middle ground should be. I think that is 100% fair. I don't think that's undercutting either side. Though, I'll leave it up to you to decide. I'm Gabe Addington, and thank you for watching. Leave your comments down below, like, subscribe, comment, Anything you disagree with, if I misunderstood the bill in any way, shape, or form, please leave it down below. I don't think I did. This is my opinion. I hope you will consider it.